guys. Well, welcome. I appreciate you two being here and taking the time out of your day off to come in and record. The first thing that I want to do is, again, say how much this means to me to have two guys. You know, Shah, I've known you for a little while now, and CJ,
for a couple days.
Yeah, for a couple days.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. While it means a lot to have two guys with different perspectives being able to come in and discuss this, because it's something in my mind that it shouldn't even exist the way that it currently does. You know? And obviously we're tackling a big situation here where we're just going to go all in and talk about racism. Okay.
Yeah.
I know. It sounds crazy. When I started thinking about doing this, I thought, why not swing for the fences? There's no point in my mind in doing what a lot of people do and slowly building up with a podcast and then hopefully enough people listen to it so they can talk about something. No. Why not? Why not just go after it? And that's why we're here. So before we really dive in, Shah, I've spoken to you about this, and CJ, I discussed this with you over the weekend, where since we're on IG Live right now and recording this, I started a Twitter account not too long ago, personally, and this is why I drink official, because of the fact that I wanted to start getting more involved with helping people see a middle of the road. And I posted something about the quote unquote arguably one of the best players in NBA history, LeBron James, back on February 24th. And I don't see him as a good leader as far as knowing how to handle things within the team. And so my post said, it was along the lines of, all aboard the SS whiny pansy ass train or leadership train. And I tagged him in it, and I posted it on Twitter, and I know, right? Yeah, I know, going after him, right? Exactly. And so I attached a link to the ESPN article where LeBron talked about how he didn't think his players on his team had enough sense of urgency or experience, to which the very first thing that went through my mind was, well, no shit. Other than JaVale McGee, Lance Stevenson, and Rondo, you literally don't have hardly anybody that's been in the playoffs. You have a bunch of young bucks that are just trying to live that baller lifestyle in the NBA. You don't have any experience. So why the hell would you say that? It was idiotic to me. With that being said, so I posted that, and it's hysterical because since February 24th, it has been 12 weeks now that I have been blocked from Twitter for posting that. I didn't say anything about the guy's ethnicity. I didn't say anything about his sexual orientation, gender identity, religion, nothing. All I said was, all aboard the pansy-ass leadership train, because throughout his entire career, all he's ever done is whine and bitch to the media, and then he catches crap for it, and then he goes and buys his team a gift like a bunch of suits or something to sit there and try to cover it all up instead of just handling it in-house. So I wanted to start off the episode by saying that, because I'm going to keep track on these. Like every week it's going to be 13 weeks and counting Twitter, 14 weeks and counting Twitter, because it's idiotic. I didn't say anything that violates their guidelines yet. I've been blocked, I'm guessing primarily from what you said, because I tagged them.
I think that's exactly, that. And the fact, I don't know what your profile pic is, but the fact that anybody, depends on who it's coming from, right? Because I feel as if the profile picture would have been coming from somebody of his race, which we'll get into that, further on down the long. But if it was coming from a black guy necessarily, besides, other than white, I honestly don't think it would be that much of a problem. Yeah. I don't think his team would have, I'm assuming his team did it,
Could
take
be.
you off. But.
Could be. And I've appealed it every single week, and I have never gotten a response from Twitter. All they did was change their blocking portal and ask me to resend an appeal.
Did Twitter say it was racist?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's crazy.
Exactly. Well, that's part of the reason it was blocked. I'm sitting here going, nah, nothing in there mentioned that.
That was the reason behind blocking it.
Yeah.
Did you sit in the definition?
Yeah. Oh, no, not yet. Not yet. No, not yet. That's hysterical. But anyway, that's just leading on in with how idiotic all that stuff is. So, gentlemen, welcome. I appreciate you. We'll get a little cheers. Welcome to This Is Why I Drink.
Perfect.
All right. Now, like I said, we're going right after racism on this one because I don't see any reason for it to exist on the level that it still does in 2019. And a lot of what we're going to talk about, some people that are going to hear this or watch your IG Live are probably going to think, man, it's more complicated than that, though, which I can't fault them for.
Yeah.
I just want them to start thinking along the lines of the quote from Steve Jobs that I'm about to read, which I sent you a while back, Shah. And it says, that's been one of my mantras, focus and simplicity. Simple can be harder than being complex. You have to work hard to get your thinking clear to make it simple. And on situations like what we're about to dig into, so many people say, well, there's so much to it. There's so much to it. Well, when you really break it down to fundamental human interaction, no, there's not. And that's what we're going to talk about. So again, thank you guys very much for being here because as I said to you the other day, I firmly believe, having a bald ginger as what I would call a goldfish cracker. Shah over here. A little garlic herb hummus. He can't be roasted red pepper because he's got a sensitive stomach. and CG over here being, correct me, half Mexican, half black.
Right,
okay, I called him a fried chicken tortilla. So I was like, I think it's a good mix.
Yeah.
Honestly, and the fact that you guys can laugh with me about it knows there's nothing taken in a hateful regard because there's mutual respect. Mm-hmm. As human beings.
Right.
That's why I wanted you guys here. So you guys can decide who wants to start it off and start on your views because, again, it's 2019. This is idiotic for it to be a massive conversation piece every day in the media.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll start it off.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Just really saying, so you told me what the real definition of racism and racism is, so that really got me thinking because I don't know if I've told you this, but I travel a lot. I've been all across the country, been within traveled within states, and every single time I've went on a flight, I've got a random check at the airport. Okay, so that got me thinking, especially with the definition you gave me. Yeah. What, in your opinion, and I totally get it, after 9/11, after everything that happened, random checks do need to happen. But the fact that the stereotyping, what are your thoughts on that as far as racism goes versus, stereotyping leading to it or not leading to it?
Stereotyping exists for a reason. And the reason redundancy right there, the reason that I think the reason, that's stupid. Stereotyping exists for a reason because a group that is large enough of a specific ethnicity has done something in either a positive or a negative fashion to give a stereotype and or a stigma. Okay. I have traveled to a lot of different countries. I've been in a lot of different states for business in my lifetime. And I can't personally think of any time that I've ever looked at another human being and thought, oh my God, he looks like he might be Middle Eastern, automatically guards up, making sure I'm protecting America. Bullshit. Okay. That's not how I think. Unfortunately, again, there are so many instances where it gives credence not necessarily to treating you that way as much as a nominal amount of fear does exist because of those things. And you say it, random, so on and so forth. Well, yeah, you also got to think about the people that are in those situations, the TSA agents, that I don't think it's right to stereotype somebody you don't know. Would I lie that those thoughts haven't gone through my mind? As far as, now it might sound like I'm contradicting myself, and let me explain that. Have those thoughts gone through my mind about, is this person's Middle Eastern, and then I start thinking about, okay, all the stigmas that come with it? Yes. Do I treat them that way? No.
Yeah, I was literally just thinking, because I've been in certain situations where I've been on the plane, and I may see somebody with, you know, the turban or whatever, and that thought just goes through my head, like, what would I do if this starts happening? Like, right. But like you say, you're not going to treat them any differently other than just a human being. But that thought does come to my mind. As I'm sure with you know, when you go through certain cities and there's a lot of black people around, like we talked about this before, you lock the doors. You know what I'm saying? It's just natural. You can never be too safe. You know what I'm saying? And you make these certain decisions based off stereotypes and what you know can possibly happen. Yeah, and it's nothing to take across or take away from somebody, but you know, you gotta be aware of yourself and be aware of your surroundings. So
that's a good point.
Yeah. So to what you're saying, it's, I don't like that it happens to you, especially because I know you.
Yeah.
They don't, and their job dictates a higher level of discretion in those areas than it would be just me coming into the gym and, you know, seeing you at the front desk and shooting the bull with you or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
So it's like if you were in the military and you went over to, say, Pakistan, from your training and everything that you're over there to do, I can guarantee there would be a slight level of hesitation, and you'd hate yourself for it because you'd think you're being racist, quote unquote, towards your own people, when in reality, you're doing your job. Yeah. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, that definitely does.
Yeah, so that's why I always say I love humanity. I love the potential of the human race, and individuals are case by case.
Yeah.
Because, you know, whenever you hear, I love people. Like, I'm a people person. I just love people. I'm like, bullshit. No. Okay. You love humanity. You love the idea of what's happening within humanity, and you love what you see as the potential. Human beings are case by case, and that's based on conduct and character. So I appreciate you bringing that up, though, because that sucks for you.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
It does. But like I said, I totally get it, because like you said, if I put myself in their situation, it's never you can never be too safe. Yeah. And yeah, and like I've said to many people before, it's the small group of people per color that do things that cost the greater people, the greater number of people. So
absolutely.
That's the part that just sucks, you know what I mean? Because we have to deal with it. You probably get stereotyped
all the time.
You know, I get stereotyped. CJ gets stereotyped. Yeah. And like I said, if people really knew us, it's a whole different story.
Oh yeah, they'd hate me even more.
You know, so and that's just three of us, you know what I mean? So imagine how many people go through it on a daily basis that are actually good human beings.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. So, you got anything else to say? Sorry about it. I'm not close enough to the mic. First time I've ever done this, folks. So, anything else in that regard? No? All right. CJ, I'll throw the ball to you. See what you got to say.
Yeah. I think just to stay on the same lines, we can go through other stuff, but go through the same lines of, I was just having a conversation with somebody earlier today about this. We were just talking about cops and stuff like that. And it's like, I feel like with a lot of the police brutality that's been going on, social media, like I got a love and hate relationship with social media, because especially people of and I hate saying this, people of color, I know we'll get into that stuff later, but people of color, we jump to conclusion and we just put the blame on the other side, or whatever the oppressor, or whatever you want to call it, right? So when police brutality happens, a lot of times, you get pulled over for a certain reason. And whether it's because of your color, if you want to say it's because of your color, okay, that's fine. But don't give them the reason to kill you.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? So if I've been pulled over several times, and you, no matter what's going on, no matter what somebody of that same color may have done to you in the previous hours, you don't treat them the way that you would probably treat that person that did you wrong, whatever the case may be, of the same color. So if I get pulled over, I'm gonna handle it with respect. And I'm gonna be cautious. I'm gonna make sure my ID is right where it needs to be. It's not gonna be in a bag. It's not gonna be in the glove compartment. It'll be in my hand, and my hands are gonna be on the steering wheel. And I'm yes sir, no sir, whatever he needs. If he needs me to step out the car, I've heard one of my friends was like, "Dude, you shouldn't have stepped out the car. This and the other. You have the right to say no." Okay, whatever. I don't have nothing to hide. I'm a basketball coach.
Exactly.
I got cones and basketballs in the back trunk. That's all they're gonna find. Yeah. So I'm gonna hop out. You want me to hop out, sir? Okay, I'll hop out. Yeah. And you just be respectful. And at the end of the day, and it's funny because I was actually going over the speed limit, so that's why I got pulled over. And with me handling it with respect, he ended up just giving me a warning after all that stuff. And it's just like, if I would have handled it differently, or if I would have gave him an attitude, or whatever the case may be, because he wants to search my car, whatever the case may be, who knows what could happen that night. And there's several instances like that happens a lot of times, and we don't look at what we've done wrong going on in that situation, because a lot of people get killed and stuff like that. But you gotta look at what were you doing? Were you the first one to throw the punch? Were you the first one to get an attitude, not giving the person respect? Because at the end of the day, they're a human being. And so that's my biggest thing. I feel like people of my same race and color and all that stuff, we just don't handle situations the right way, and we put the blame on other people as opposed to looking to ourselves and what we could have did different or anything and stuff like that. So that's pretty much it, other than just trying to understand each other's views. I think that's why this podcast right now is so dope, is because you're getting a variety of different cultures and stuff, and we're all trying to figure out. I know that's why I came here, to understand your point of view, understand your point of view. Not to necessarily prove mine, because I already know what mine is, but I don't have to persuade anybody. But if I can understand yours, and we meet in the middle like you just talked about. I talk about living in that gray area. You have black, white, and then you have that gray area. If you meet in that gray area, a lot of times you'll find peace and everything that you want in this world. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it.
That's a good point, because I'm 90% sure the person you're talking about you spoke to today, I talked to him about the same thing, right? Almost on a daily basis, because I'm able to, and he's white, and so that's someone that's a different color that, like I said, we can meet in the middle and talk about things. And I'm not gonna lie, just like you said, the cop thing is a very touchy subject, because 90% of my friends are African American. Yeah. So when all this stuff on social media is happening, and I see the police brutality happening, it scares me, because like I said, almost all my friends are African American. So I'm like, man, if you guys don't handle the situation correctly and with respect, it could turn around really quick. And so when I talk to the person we're talking about almost every day about it, my whole perspective on it changed. My whole perspective. 6 months ago, I can genuinely say I hated cops. That's every time I saw a cop, I stereotyped them every single time. Now I love them, because there's so much behind the scenes that we didn't know about until you actually talk to a cop. And I think there's this misrepresentation about how cops don't go through a lot of training.
The protocols and all that other stuff.
And people are like, oh, they need more training, but man, if you really knew how much training they go through, and what kind of, not only physical training, but they go through mental training too, to deal with people that they have to deal with, and when you really, that's what I'd recommend. Like we said, us three speaking here, talking about this touchy subject. I feel like people that have this misrepresentation and stereotype on cops need to try to go have a conversation with the cop and find that gray area, like you said, because your whole thought process will change. And like I said, like now, if I haven't got pulled over yet, knock on wood, but if I do, like it's gonna be a whole different, like, you know, I'm gonna treat them with respect. And you know, before that, my tone was always different.
Yeah,
and you know, it was just a whole different scene. But like I said, like once you actually have a conversation with one, you'll see that they're just human beings. You know, and we have this weird thought that, you know, cops are out to get us, but man, like they're trying to save us.
Yeah,
you know, they're trying to keep the streets clean and make sure, you know, everyone's safe. And I mean, unfortunately, like you said, people sometimes just don't handle the situation correctly, and sometimes they do. I mean, they're like I said, it's that small group of people that, you know, makes the whole cop population look bad, you know. And that's how it is with, you know, everybody, every race. And it kind of sucks that it goes down that way. But if more people just had a conversation like we are right now, I think the world would be a better place.
Fact. Yeah. It's funny, before I get into when you're talking to me about experiences, so on and so forth, where you said, you know, I'm sure you get stereotyped and all that. Story about a cop. Well, first and foremost, I love cops too, and it cracks me up because Dallas, you know, not being from here, being from Wichita, Kansas, don't pull me over, DFW police, for saying this. I have never seen so many out of shape police officers in my entire damn life until I moved here. I was like, you say physical training, I'm sitting here going, kick it up, kick it up, you know, just because I'm like, what do you do in your free time?
Yeah, how are you supposed to?
Yeah, are you gonna, like, if we're on a foot race, you're not catching me. There's no way, you know. And I'm not svelte by any stretch at the present moment. So, no, it's funny that we're bringing up the whole cop thing because a buddy of mine from Wichita, Kansas, his name is Darren Williams. He played basketball for Wichita State University. Huge black guy. He's a cop. And I remember like it was yesterday on the west side of Wichita, I was in a left-hand turning lane because we both went to the same gym. And I was in a left-hand turning lane and he recognized my car. And he was behind me. I didn't know he was behind me because I was just waiting for the light to turn green to turn. Next thing you know, a siren and lights went on. I was like, oh, shit. You know, thinking, what the hell? And next thing, so I pull over. I turn and then I pull into a parking lot. And he pulls up to me, rolls down. He goes, what's up, buddy? I was like, oh, you dick. You ass. Just because he just wanted to screw with me, you know? And so that's what I'm saying. It's funny that you're talking about these things, and I'm like, some of my funniest memories are because friends of mine are police, and they just wanted to screw with me like that a little bit, you know. And I was like, ha, 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 and then he pulls up, and I was like, you mother. And I'm pale as the day is long, and he's a black guy, and it was funny as hell. That's why I thought you guys would get a kick out of that story. And he was just all, what's up, buddy? That's it. I'm like,
and like you said, to your point, like most of the time, cops are like awesome people, you know, like as most people know that might be watching this, I work at a gym, and most customers and guests and members that have issues are just complete assholes, you know, complete assholes. And we do have a good number of law enforcement that have membership at our gym, and that people might not even know about because they just look like regular people because they're not in their uniform. And those are the people that will stop by our desk along with folks like you, and will say what's up to us, ask us how our day is going on a daily basis, you know, like when they don't have to go out of their way to do that. And so to your point, like they're just awesome people, and we sometimes forget like they have families too, you know, so their wives and their kids are waiting for, you know, mom and dad to come home, and while they're trying to make sure, you know, the streets are safe and you know, there's no robberies going on, and et cetera, et cetera. So it's so important, like you said, CJ, that we just need to handle situations better.
Keep talking.
And like I said, I mean, there's certain instances where they're in the wrong, but we're human. I mean, like mistakes happen. Like
I think too, and I talk about, because there are some bad people out there, right? And it's just like, let's just say a cop a cop is racist, whatever the case may be, whatever the case may be, don't give them a reason to kill you. You know what I'm saying? All you gotta do is deal with the situation with respect, handle it with respect, and then it's gonna shed light on who was really in the wrong. Because if I just have my hands right here, yes sir, no sir, and he kills me, whatever case, okay, now we know we know what the deal was on that. If I'm going back and forth, bickering, hands in your face, doing this to your head, it's just like all that stuff is just gonna now you've let him win that battle. Not that it's a battle, but it's just like now you let him have that situation. You know what I'm saying? And it's just, I don't know.
Now you're maybe it's just the way I think.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe it's just the way I think. Like when I argue and somebody else is yelling at me or what, I'm gonna calm because I'm gonna let you look like a fool the whole time. And so I just think it's the way you handle situations.
Agreed. All I was going to say to wrap that part up is there are asshole citizens and there are asshole cops.
Right.
End of story.
Right.
There are assholes in every place we go, every shape, size, color, whatever. And guess what? If they're an asshole, they're typically going to spit shit.
Yeah.
Think about it. So, can I be an asshole at times? Absolutely. I'm not going to lie. It's a matter of personal accountability and being able to look yourself in the mirror, because we're going to wrap this one up here real quick, and then we'll come back on the next one and get into the actual definition and help really dissect a lot more of it. And I have said for years now that as a society, if every single person wakes up daily, looks themselves in the mirror and says, today I choose to operate and conduct myself with one, humility, because I'm no better than anybody else out there. I've got the same goals to build a decent quality life for myself that everybody else has or should have. Number two, self-awareness, to realize you make just as many mistakes as everybody else on the streets. And number three, personal accountability without justification. And the without justification part to me is more important than even the personal accountability part, because you can say, I take accountability for all these things, but, well, no, you fucking don't. Now, as soon as you say but, you're not taking accountability for anything.
Yeah, so important.
Yeah, don't say, I'm sorry, but. Don't say, I agree with you, but. If you have certain things that you agree with, like we've had conversations about already, in the short time, especially I've known you, and you've approached it in a very respectful manner where you're like, okay, I can see where you're coming from. The only thing I would have an issue with is boom, boom, boom. Say, I agree with you on these things. Here's what I'm still struggling with, or here's what I don't understand, or here's what I just flat out disagree with. Don't say, okay, but, I'm sorry, but. Accountability without justification. Again, number one, humility. Number two, self-awareness. Number three, personal accountability without justification. I guarantee if people start looking themselves in the mirror every day and choosing those things before their foot walks outside of their house, one foot steps outside of that door, we're going to start turning some shit around. I can guarantee it.
Agreed.
So, guys, I appreciate you being on this first episode. Like I said, I'm excited for number two when we actually get into the definitions versus what people have twisted things into and start really breaking it down. So, thanks, guys. And to everybody listening, we appreciate you. And this is why I drink. Cheers.